The black and white poster said Poetry Slam. Now I know what I'm not and I know what I am, and although I'm no miser I am fairly tight, and £4's a bit steep for a poetry night. So I shrugged and decided it wasn't for me, till I noticed the small print "Competitors Free." So I noted the number, and there it began, the slippery slope to the Poetry Slam. I rang up with my queries. I had a fair few, things like what the hell slam meant and what did we do. I was egged on to enter, at least have a go, and I knew there'd be nobody there that I'd know, so I screwed my eyes shut and I whispered, "OK, I'd be fine." And besides, it was 6 weeks away. I hung up, dropped my phone, held my head in my hands. I committed myself to a Poetry Slam. Now, I do like a challenge, I'm not insecure, but I'd never done poems in public before. What the fuck was I thinking? I must be insane, but I told them I'd do it. I'd put down my name, so I fought off my fear with the force of 5 men, knowing no way on earth would I do this again. I felt sick, I felt dizzy, my aching head swam when that night came, that night of the Poetry Slam. I presumed they'd be locals, first-timers like me, inexperienced, nervous. How wrong could I be? "Do you do Cheltenham or Ledbury?" they asked with a smile. These nutters were pros and they travelled for miles. "No, not really," I mumbled. "I just quite like verse." And then when I was thinking it couldn't get worse, I saw people I knew and I so nearly ran out that door far away from the Poetry Slam. But I did it. Went up when they called out my name. I was shaking, but got to the end all the same, and my score wasn't bad, though I didn't get through, which was shit, because I had 2 more poems to do, but my God, was I flying the rest of the night. Pure adrenaline rush, I was high as a kite, and it wasn't the strongbow, lightweight that I am, just a cool kind of kick from the Poetry Slam. So I proved I could do it. The deed had been done. It was frightening as fuck, but the fear was quite fun, and I told the MC I'd not done it before, but that now that I had, I might do it some more. "Come back Friday," he said, "and perfect your technique. Attila the stockbroker's here next week. We'd love you to be his support if you can." This was one giant leap from the Poetry Slam. To be honest, I almost was pooing my pants. He's a clash-loving god spouting socialist rants, a push-biking punk with a penchant for beer. Now I knew what it meant to be feeling the fear, but a gig with Attila, I couldn't say no, so I smiled, played it cool, said I'd love to, although playing gigs with such stars wasn't part of my plan when I entered that very first Poetry Slam. But Attila was grand. The whole gig was great fun. I laughed loads and I wept when he talked of his mum. And then later, when supping his pint of real ale, he kindly commended my cautionary tale. We have punk roots in common and see eye to eye on the modernised face of the WI. At the pub with Attila to chat about jam, a surreal result of that Poetry Slam. That was 3 years ago, and I've come a long way. Now I'm paid to go places I once had to pay. Gigs with Ian McMillan and John Cooper Clarke, slammed in festival fields, in the mud, in the dark, and I love the reaction, the feedback from you. You're the whole entire reason I do what I do, although sadly I've still not met my perfect man, taking part in or watching a Poetry Slam. So I started by fluke, but I'm glad that I did, and not just because it saved me from spending £4. It's a buzz and I'm hooked. I love sharing my words, but we've all got opinions which need to be heard. So if you have ideas and if you have a voice, write it down, get it out, come up here, make some noise, because if I can do it, I'm sure that you can. Get your name down and enter a Poetry Slam.